Hello to all Cinemaster lovers.
Hey, wait!
Hope you enjoy watching. Let's get started. Welcome. Today, we will summarize a movie titled Chronicle, an action and science fiction film produced in 2012. Let's begin. The movie starts with a high school student named Andrew, who doesn't have many friends except for his cousin Matt, who is considered his closest friend. We visit Andrew's home and learn that his mother is suffering from a severe health condition, while his father Richard has addiction problems which makes him constantly angry. He often hits Andrew for no reason. Andrew decides to buy a camera to document everything that happens to him, so he can protect himself from his father's anger. Time passes, and Andrew and Matt go to school with the camera, where Andrew records everything. However, some students bully him. One day, after school, Matt tells him about a party at night and insists they go together. Initially, Andrew hesitates, but he eventually agrees. Andrew returns home but finds his father drunk and gets beaten as usual. He takes the camera and goes to the party where he films the people there. He meets another girl named Casey, who was also carrying a camera. They get to know each other, but during the party, someone suspects Andrew and starts harassing him. Andrew leaves the party and begins cleaning the camera until Steve, the most popular student in school, comes and apologizes to him and asks him to join them to a strange place they found underground. Andrew agrees and joins them. They reach the place where they hear strange sounds and decide to go down to explore their source. Upon descending, they find a strange blue beam emanating from a large object, and the place starts shaking and the atmosphere darkens. The events progress, and the three of them gain superpowers. We see Andrew using his mind to move a baseball, but he bleeds from his nose. They enter Steve's house and play with their powers, making Lego pieces fly in the air effortlessly. They decide to return to the place to learn more about what happened to them. However, they find the hole destroyed, and the police ask them to leave. Andrew returns home and trains himself with his camera. He hears his father talking on the phone about securing more insurance for his mother's treatment because he doesn't have enough money. The next day, Andrew decides to take his mother out for a walk to improve her condition, and they spend a lovely time together. Then Andrew meets his friends, Steve and Matt, and they train their powers at the lake. Matt discovers that their powers work like muscles, and the more they use them, the stronger they become. But if they overexert themselves, they experience strange bleeding. Matt suggests they go to a public place to train their powers without being noticed. They go to the supermarket and play simple pranks using their powers. But Steve decides to escalate the pranks by moving a customer's car. Andrew and Steve are surprised by Steve's strength. While on their way, a car approaches them, and Andrew decides to move it away from them. But his power goes out of control, causing an accident. The three of them fear they might have caused someone's death and call for an ambulance. Afterwards, they realize their powers are starting to get out of control, so they decide to establish rules for using their powers. The next day, they gather in an abandoned place to train. Steve discovers he has developed the ability to fly. Matt tries but falls, while Andrew succeeds in flying on his first try. They continue playing together until a ball hits Matt, causing him to lose control and fall. But Andrew saves him at the last moment. They laugh together and feel happy with their new powers. The next day at school, they decide to take a break to visit places they want. Andrew says he wants to go to a place called Tibet to visit monk temples. Meanwhile, Matt meets Casey and gives her money, telling her he saw the video she made for fundraising for a charity. They get to know each other, while Steve and Andrew go out together using their powers, and they talk about Andrew's happiness having friends after feeling lonely. Steve suggests participating in the talent show he organizes at school and using their powers to achieve success. Indeed, Andrew goes to wear the suit and participates in the show, where they both use their powers to perform a magical act, which is very simple for their new powers, but enough to impress the entire school and make them love Andrew. Afterwards, he goes to celebrate everything that happened with his new friends at school, and everyone welcomes him. And there he meets a girl and reads to her from afar, while Steve holds his camera and says he will go to film him and play a prank on him. When he goes, he finds the girl pleading and glowing. Steve was laughing, and when he went inside, he found Andrew very angry. The next day, he learns that he is Andrew's father, and he yells at him for breaking a very expensive camera, despite needing all the money for his mother's treatment. When he responds and yells back, his father gets angrier and, as usual, hits him. But unlike every time, he has a very great power, and indeed uses it against his father, lifts him against the wall, and tells him that if he wanted to kill him now, he would do it. But he retreats at the last moment, puts him down, and leaves him and walks away. Matt is with Casey at the same time, and his nose bleeds. And he is very surprised because he didn't use his power at all, and he feels something is wrong, And the events move to Andrew, who is deeply affected by the incident with his father and suffers from severe anxiety due to his powers disorder. Steve goes to him and tells him his nose is bleeding, and he feels a voice calling him by Andrew's name. At that moment, he knows something is wrong, and their powers almost connect them together. But Andrew asks him to leave him alone, and Steve refuses, so Andrew gets very upset with him and starts shouting at him. Due to his powers disorder, he causes a very large electrical shock that strikes Steve and kills him unintentionally. Then, the events move to Steve's funeral, attended by all the students of the school because they loved him very much. There, Andrew dies feeling that he killed him. After the funeral, he goes to talk to him and asks him to tell the truth about how he died from the cold, while at the same time the weather was very good. But Andrew avoids responding to his words and lets him go. The next day, he returns to Steve's grave and apologizes to him, saying he didn't mean to kill him. Afterwards, he returns to school, where all the students mock him because of what happened at the party. And he uses his power to remove the teeth of one of the workers who mock him. And he goes to the bathroom with the camera and explains how he took them, and he could have easily killed them. Then he goes to a place far from the school and continues recording there. And we learn that Andrew has completely changed. He says he no longer feels any guilt when he hurts anyone, simply because he sees them as weaker than him and considers them prey. Then he returns home, the two of them enter, and they try to fight. But Andrew stops his hand using his power, and the argument ends with Matt leaving the place and walking away. After that, Andrew goes to the pharmacy to buy his mother's medicine, but he discovers he doesn't have enough money. He returns home and decides to use his power to steal money, disguising himself in his father's work uniform, who worked as a firefighter. The first people he encounters on the street are those who bullied him at school. He beats them and takes the money from them, then goes to put gas and hits the man standing there to take the money. As he leaves, the man comes out with a gun and tries to shoot him. But before he does, Andrew manages to snatch it from his hand. The shot goes off and hits the gas tank there. Everything explodes. Andrew gets severely injured and goes to the hospital. His father goes there, keeps shouting beside him, and tells him that his mother died on the same day Steve died, blaming him for her death because he had to leave her to come to the hospital, saying that if he had been with her, he could have saved her. Andrew wants to hit him, but regains his senses at the last moment, grabs him, destroys the entire place, loses control, and kills his father. He is at a birthday party and then starts bleeding again. Matt knows Andrew has lost control of his power, so he quickly goes to the hospital, where he finds Andrew flying in the air and destroying the entire place. He tries to talk to him while cameras record and the police watch, but Andrew refuses to talk and throws a bus at him. The two begin fighting each other, throwing cars and buses, and fall to the ground. The police surround them and start shooting at Andrew, causing him to get hit and fall to the ground. This upsets Andrew greatly, but he manages to stop them all easily, and he wants to kill the police. At that moment, Matt realizes the only solution to stop Andrew is to kill him. He takes advantage of Andrew being distracted with the police and moves a very large spear attached to a statue in the street, and unfortunately, Andrew dies from it. He is arrested and escapes from the police. Days pass, and he appears again, filming himself in front of the temple that Andrew himself wanted to visit.